Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what we're going to do is we're going to look at Erik's mighty Viking collection, and I've got a Valkyrie here to help out along with Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries. And what I think I'd like to do is use the Valkyrie as sort of yeah, these are the ones. The job of the Valkyries was to take the warriors who died in battle and take them to Valhalla. So we'll see if she can help us out. All right, so let's get started. Erik has a good sized collection. It's very interesting. I think you're going to like it. First of all, we have these a set of four Seikos right here, and the Seikos are fairly standard kind. The gold, one with the gold dial at the in the upper left up there, is from 1972, and to me, here you have a perfect example of a watch, vintage watch with a seriously good-looking dial. Because one of the problems that we can run into sometimes is that we got a great watch, but it's got the dial got messed up, and that's one thing I think, especially with vintage watches, you got to watch out for. But Erik here, boy, that's a nice one. Then he's got a quartz. Okay, I've got quartz watches, and I probably ought to put them away, but I don't. And anyhow, this one is a diver's 300 watch, and it's one that Erik likes. And but anyway, I put the little Valkyrie there just in case it needs to go to Valhalla. Now at the bottom down here, you've got two seriously nice Seikos. You have on the left is a Grand Seiko automatic, and on the right is a Grand Seiko high beat. And that high beat, at least in my opinion, is as good as anything the Swiss have. That thing is a very, very nice watch. So good start for your collection there, Erik. Okay, let's take a look. Here you have some Omegas, three Omegas and a Seagull. The the first Omega up in the upper left up there, it's a nice Seamaster. I mean, it is, but the dial, with a dial like that, how much do you wear something like that? I you can clearly you can tell time with it, but you can see that the second hand has some corrosion on it, and once that stuff gets started, it's hard to. Who wants to wear a watch with a bunch of gunk on the dial? If there's some other reason for it, I mean, it's an heirloom or something, that's different. Okay, but this one thing is as good as that Seiko was from 1972. This Omega, it would be one I'd probably pass on. The one next to it, that Seamaster, look at how good looking that is. That's a beautiful one. Same with the gold. Look at the gold face one on the bottom too. Um, those are two very sweet looking vintage Omegas. Okay, now here's a Seagull. I have been tempted for a long time to get a Seagull Tourbillon for this one reason. It's the only one I can even begin to afford. All right. Seagulls, but Erik says, hey, he loves that watch. He wears it all the time. What the hey? If you feel that way about a watch, and he says it takes really good time too. So, more power to you. But it's something I'd probably forego. In other words, I don't want to spend money on anything that I could spend more money on something that I really want. Anyway, so got a Valkyrie with it. All right. This next set of watches is an interesting one. Okay. Uh, First of all, the in the upper left is a very sentimental one. for Arsa. It belonged to his mom, and she passed away not too long ago. And it's an interesting looking watch, but it looks pretty long in the tooth. Okay, it's got the kind of thing on a watch that, again, for if you're going out looking for one, if it's passed on from your family, totally different. That's totally different. I like it though. The Arsa. Okay, next to it is one I really, really like, and that's that Longines. That is a beautiful, beautiful watch. Now, yes, it's got an ETA in it. Okay, but look at the dial on that. I mean, if you're going to have one, and the thing, Longines, and some of these with ETAs in it, they don't cost too much. And I've got nothing against it. What I have a problem with, and I've said this a lot, that if you pay like $10,000, $15,000 for a watch with an ETA in it, I think that's a big mistake. In fact, I think if you pay anything over $1,000 for it, you're in sort of a shaky area there. But not this one. This is a lot of the Longines are very reasonably priced. And the flagship at the bottom, the flagship Longines has that Calatrava, the Patek Philippe Calatrava look. Yeah, those things are great for just a nice formal situation where you don't have to, you're not trying to prove anything. The Zhongkang, that looks very similar, okay, except it has a center second rather than the small seconds at the bottom like the Longines has. I like the looks of that. I mean, again, it's got that nice clean look, sort of a dinner party. You pop it on your wrist going out to dinner. I like it. Nice one. Okay, this next set, I wish I could say more about it. Okay, the top two are pocket watches, and I don't collect pocket watches, and I don't know that much about them. They both look more antique than vintage. Okay, and you can find some very interesting watches from way back when, if you're interested in that kind of thing. And for pocket watches, those are two interesting examples. The bottom left, this one is one that Erik is going to restore. Belonged to his dad, and as you can see, it's pretty banged up. But as a restoration project, it could be very interesting. It's the name of it is Arsa. I'm sorry, not an Arsa, a Sakura. That's a Sakura, and it's from the 70s. It's pretty banged up, but I think it'd be an interesting, for sentimental reasons, it'd be a very interesting restoration case. I can hardly wait to see what Erik does with it. By the way, Erik makes these beautiful, beautiful kayaks. My God, they're out of their woods with a streamer and stringers, just beautiful, handmade. They're incredible. So I have no doubt that he could restore that his dad's old watch as something that looks great. Next to it is a Sin. I like that one. By and large, I'm a little funny about Sins because they're right after World War II. The IWC had a contract with the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, and they had this weird contract. I think IWC had the contract to supply the watches, and Sin had the contract to service them. I don't know whoever came up with that plan. I don't know, but they're probably trying to help out both companies anyway. So what Sin did, they would redial some IWC watches. I don't know why I got such a kick out of that. And I'm always sort of like about Sin, but they're very popular. They're very affordable watches, and in this case, I like the looks of it. Sort of one of the big old sports watches, diver's watch, yeah, kind of thing. Okay, here's another Sin. and got a couple Steinhardts too. I got a soft spot for Steinhardts. To me, I love Steinhardts for this reason. Yes, I know they're not high horology. They're just watches, but they're honest ones. They are honest. They have an ETA in them. If you go to this Steinhardt, their online um, store, they tell you exactly what movements in them, whether it's just an ETA or it's owned by ETA like Valjoux, so you know what you're getting, and you're not paying too much for it. That is so. If you're going to get if you want to get a watch and you don't mind having an ETA in it, don't pay five, six, seven, $10,000 for any of the large number of luxury watches that put in cheap, inexpensive movements. Okay, now in the bottom lower left is this Seiko, and the thing about it that was sort of funny, um, Erik was having a hard time getting a photograph of it. One photograph would show it looked like a sort of a plain blue face on it, but it's got. He says that when you turn it at a certain angle, it has this wonderful cobalt blue that really comes out at you, and you can see in this picture now you got the light shining right on it, so you got the light bulb on the thing. And so I suggested to Erik, I said, well, look, what you ought to do is waiting for a cloudy day. It was in the middle of winter in Norway. That can get tricky. So anyway, but he did, and he retook some pictures. Here are a couple that he took, and you can see that without just the right lighting, you can't see that blue come out. And so I know what he was talking about, and he finally got the one on the right there was when the weather was better. He also has another Omega, another Seamaster, and this one was, I think, it's out for repair or something. Came back. Now the thing about this one that I like, it has that. It's not a Tourneau really. To me, it's a cushion shape around the center dial. I like that. That's a cool looking watch, and it's an Omega to boot. Okay, now the final thing I want to take a look at that Erik had, and quite by accident, he sent me the picture of this gorgeous A. Longinson, and this is one that he had. Uh, he had a wrist shot of it when he was visiting Dubai, and I thought that was really cool. So it's the kind of watch that he wants to save for. It's sort of it's a Grail watch. Okay, I think that's wonderful. You should have something like that. Now, um, what so how do you arrive at the Grail watch? The watches that Erik has so far, I think if he had saved on all of them, especially the two Grand Seikos, he'd have been very close to being able to get that 1814 A long. That's the kind of watch I think that should be the kind of thing you want to have for a goal. I had at one time. This was my Grail watch. I call it my 21. It's a Vacheron Constantin Historiques Americain 1921. My 21. Okay, it's a Grail watch. Now, with the other ones, the ones that I had, I put the little Valkyrie by. Maybe the thing was they have the Valkyries take them to Valhalla, and the road is paved to Valhalla. We'll have a Viking funeral for them, okay, symbolically. If you don't get a lot of watches that are, one, a lot alike, two, have dials that are very iffy, and three, really aren't anything horologically different than everything else that you have, why get them? Why not save for that A Lang? Okay, well, uh, that's the this collection. You gotta, I gotta say, this is a neat collection, and it's the mighty Vikings. So, congratulations, Erik, on an interesting collection, and do save for that A Lang. You don't need any more watches that are anything less than an A Lang right now. You're all set. Okay, so start saving for that A Lang. By the way, too, you can probably find them for probably around €8,000. I looked around and I saw them for around that price. And bargain, always always bargain. There's always plenty of time for that. Okay, well, I want to thank Erik once again. And by the way, if you have any comments, please make them. Make comments here. We love your comments. And also, too, if you'd like to subscribe, there's an invitation. You're more than welcome to subscribe. And until next Friday, when we have our next regular video, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci.